you wasn't really right there with Takeoff when he was alive. You know what I mean? So
it's been more than a year since Takeoff's tragic passing in Houston, but the smoke still hasn't cleared. And right now, the fire's sparking all over again. The latest one throwing gasoline on it. Mase backed heavily by his longtime partner in crime, Cameron. And this isn't just light sparring. They're putting serious heat on Prince, accusing him of being way deeper in that night than anyone wants to admit. Let's rewind. Takeoff, one-third of the Migos, was gunned down outside a Houston bowling alley in the early hours of November 1st, 2022. The official version called it a freak dice game gone wrong. But the streets, they never bought that. Too many moving parts, too many silent faces, too much missing footage. Now Mase is saying he's sitting on something that flips the whole story, an alleged private phone call between Prince and Takeoff just hours before the shooting. And according to Mase, this wasn't some casual check-in. He claims Prince was pressing Takeoff hard about loyalty moves, telling him he had to play ball to stay in Mob T.I.'s good graces. And if you know anything about Mob T.I.'s name in Houston, that's not advice, that's pressure. That's why the streets are buzzing. If that call is real and Cameron already hinted the tape is locked in a vault, it means Prince was directly in contact with Takeoff the very night he died. That's a massive red flag, especially with all the unanswered questions about who was truly pulling strings that night. The scene at the bowling alley was pure chaos. Witnesses say Takeoff wasn't even at the dice table. He was standing back, minding his own business when Quavo started arguing. Voices got heated, then gunshots tore through the air. Takeoff caught the worst of a hit in the head and torso. He never made it to the hospital. Police later arrested Patrick Clark, aka DJ Pat, charging him with murder. Bail? A cool $1 million. But here's where it gets shady. Paperwork originally had Prince JRB listed to help ensure Clark followed bail terms. Yet, by the time media eyes hit the documents, Prince JRB's name had quietly vanished. That, kind of behind the scenes editing screams somebody pulling strings, and this ain't an isolated case. People started connecting dots to other Mob T.I.'s linked tragedies like Duke the Jeweler's killing in September 2022. Same setup, out-of-town guest, a dice game, a robbery, and another body. The pattern is too sharp to ignore. That's why Mase's call-out hits different. He's accusing Prince of playing the role of community leader in public while using Houston's check-in culture as a way to control who moves where and how. According to him, it's a trap. Once you're inside, you don't make moves without them. And if you step wrong, things get ugly quick, and it's not just Mase saying it. Ever since Takeoff's death, big names have been distancing themselves from Prince and Mob T.I.'s. Offset's beef with Prince spilled into the open. Cardi B dropped cryptic shots about people acting tough with rappers' wives. Even Drake, once inseparable from the Prince camp, has been unusually quiet about showing love lately. But the real bombshell? That alleged recording, if it ever surfaces and matches Mase's claims, it won't just be gossip anymore. It'll be evidence. And in an era where the feds are already eyeing potential RICO cases, that's the kind of smoke that could turn into fire real quick. November 1st, 2022, Houston, Texas. What was supposed to be a low-key private night at 810 Billiards and bowling spiraled into one of the darkest chapters hip-hop has ever seen. Takeoff, Quavo, and a small circle had touched down in H-Town. And like always, when outsiders slide through Houston, that unspoken check-in rule comes into play. You tap in with the right people, usually Mob T.I.'s, if you want smooth sailing. That night, Prince JRB was in the building. And when he's around, the spotlight naturally shifts to his camp. From the jump, this wasn't your average chill session. The alley was closed off to the public, but security didn't look like the kind of lockdown you'd expect for A-list stars. Instead, the vibe felt more like a private Mob T.I.'s gathering affiliates, a couple artists, and faces nobody could quite place. The dice game was where the energy flipped. Quavo at the table, money moving, tension creeping in. Witnesses say the talk got heated fast. What started as friendly banter turned into raised voices. Multiple people swear they heard Quavo say something along the lines of, "Man, let's roll before I hurt somebody." That's when things went from warm to boiling. But here's the catch: Takeoff wasn't even in it. No gambling, no arguing. He was just a few steps back, minding his own. And that's exactly why people say what happened next feels so foul. When shots erupted, Takeoff wasn't in the conflict, but he took the fatal rounds. One to the head, another to the torso. He collapsed instantly, never making it to paramedics. Now here's where the questions start stacking. Surveillance cameras inside and around the building should have told the whole story. But somehow, not all the footage ever surfaced. Houston PD released a carefully edited clip for the press, but the rest tucked away. That's the first big red flag. If this was really just a dice game gone sideways, why hide the full view? Then, there's the gun mystery. Multiple eyewitnesses insist more than one shooter let off rounds. Police pinned DJ Pat as the triggerman, claiming forensics tied him to the deadly shot. But Street Talk says others fired too, some allegedly mob TIs connected. Yet only Pat got charged. And what about J Prince JRB? The released footage shows him calmly walking off while Takeoff's body is literally still on the ground. No shot, no attempt to help, just gone. For a guy who's branded himself as the protector of artists in his city, that moment alone rang alarms. And let's not forget the eerie DJ Vu. Just weeks earlier, Duke the Jeweler was murdered in Houston right after linking with some of the same crowd. Another dice game, another robbery, another gunfire ending in death. Different victim, same ugly playbook. That's why folks say this wasn't bad luck. Either it was a straight setup or at the very least, a case where the hosts failed to control their own event. And when you layer in Mase's explosive claim that J Prince spoke directly with Takeoff just hours before his death, it paints a far darker picture than the wrong place, wrong time headline mainstream outlets ran with, which is exactly why the streets never bought the story that DJ Pat was just some lone wolf snapping out of nowhere. The $1 million bail, the sudden tweaks to his bond paperwork, and the way J Prince JRBE's name magically vanished from it. All of that screams one thing: damage control. When news of Takeoff's death first broke, J Prince kept it quiet. But once whispers started flipping into full-blown accusations, he launched into PR overdrive. Sit-down interviews, long Instagram captions, posts about being a man of peace, a guardian of the culture. He tried to recast mob TIs as a misunderstood family, unfairly painted as violent just because of their street roots, but the internet wasn't buying the rebrand. For years, clips have been circulating of J Prince and his son moving through Houston like untouchable bosses, giving orders, checking people, setting the tone. To a lot of folks, his peacekeeper talk felt less like truth and more like a cover for the muscle behind the curtain. Then Mase lit the match on it is what it is with Cameron by his side. He didn't just question J Prince's public image, he shredded it, calling the check-in culture a trap, a setup designed to lock artists into dependency where their safety and even their lives rest completely in the hands of their hosts. And Mase went even further. He and Cam hinted they had receipts, not just gossip, but an actual recording of a conversation between J Prince and Takeoff just hours before he was killed. According to Mase, that call wasn't casual at all. He says it was pressure, the type of talk that makes you wonder if Takeoff was being forced to pick sides in some behind-the-scenes tension nobody was supposed to know about. Now, here's why that matters. To really grasp it, you've got to understand what checking in means in certain cities. In places like Houston, Chicago, Louisiana, outsiders, especially big-name rappers, are expected to tap in with the local bosses. On paper, it's about respect and safety. But in practice, it's about control. Once you check in, they decide who you roll with, where you hang out, and how your night unfolds. That's the power mob TIs built its whole brand on. They weren't just a label, they were the gatekeepers of Houston's streets. For years, it worked. Artists gave them public praise, showed loyalty behind closed doors, and constantly posted love on social media. But after Takeoff's murder under their watch, that protector image cracked wide open. J Prince tried to flip the narrative, saying Takeoff's death was a tragic accident caused by outsiders. He pointed fingers at DJ Pat, framing it as bad luck that Takeoff got caught in crossfire, but people caught what he didn't say. No talk of the missing footage, no answers about why Mob TI's security couldn't control the scene, and no explanation for why J Prince JRB slipped out before paramedics even touched the ground. Meanwhile, Mase just kept doubling down. He called out what he says is the fake act J Prince plays for the cameras while moving totally different once the lights are off. And Cameron co-signed, dropping the line, if that recording ever came out, the world would see J. Prince in a whole new light. And here's the key, this isn't your typical rap back and forth. This kind of public challenge chips away at a street legend's armor. Because once people start whispering that you can't even control your own events, or worse, that you might be the one setting folks up, that aura of respect starts looking shaky, especially with Takeoff's death still heavy on fans' minds. Now, every single Mob T.I.'s headline comes with that silent question: are they really about protecting the culture or controlling it? The thing about street whispers, once they get loud enough, they don't just stay in the streets. They reach federal ears. And with Takeoff's murder, Duke the Jeweler's killing, plus Mase and Cameron flat out hinting at a recording, the feds don't need much more to start drawing lines. Because what do feds love more than anything? Patterns. And the Houston check-in scene has been showing one that looks bad. Big name artist touches down, links with Mob T.I., ends up at a private dice game. By the end of the night, there's gunfire. And somehow, the official story never lines up with the rumors. Takeoff high-profile victim, missing footage, multiple shooters, and bond paperwork that mysteriously had J. Prince JRBE's name scrubbed. Duke the Jeweler, another out-of-towner, another dice game, another robbery murder with Mob T.I.'s associates floating in the mix. 2 deaths, 2 months apart, same names around. To most people, that doesn't scream coincidence. Now layer in Mase turning up the heat. He's not just chasing clicks. He's painting J. Prince as a man hiding behind the community leader mask while running the same behind-the-scenes power game the streets been whispering about for years. And Cameron backing it, that gives it way more weight. These aren't newbies clout chasing. These are industry vets with legacies of their own, and they know exactly what it means to call out someone on J. Prince's level, and that's why this alleged recording keeps coming up. If it's real, and if it really is J. Prince on the phone with Takeoff just hours before the shooting, that's not just a headline, that's evidence. In the streets, it's a bombshell. In court, it's dynamite. And with the feds already circling for anything Rico related, a piece like that could be the door they've been waiting to kick down. That's the quiet fear rippling through Mob T.I.'s orbit right now. Because once the feds lock in, they don't stop at one incident. They start pulling threads, bank accounts, phone logs, business T.I.'s, old cases. And with a family that's been holding weight in both music and the streets for decades, that's a lot of threads waiting to unravel. Public opinion is shifting too. The same people who once praised J. Prince for making Houston safe for artists are now questioning if that safety always came with strings attached. Even insiders in the industry have been stepping back, not just to dodge drama, but because no one wants to be the next wrong place, wrong time. Headline.as for Mase. This is a dangerous move, calling out a respected OG, teasing receipts, and refusing to back down. That's not something you do without expecting blowback. But maybe that's the point. Maybe Mase knows the feds are watching, and he figures this is the safest moment to talk because everyone's moving extra careful. At the end of the day, the real truth about Takeoff's death might still be locked in those missing tapes and private phone calls. But one thing's undeniable, the pressure around Mob T.I.'s is stacking heavy. The streets are buzzing, the internet is amplifying it, and the feds, they're almost definitely taking notes. And if Mase and Cameron ever actually drop that recording, this won't just be a rap story anymore. It'll be the headline that shifts Houston's power structure maybe forever.